Hey everyone, Mark here with Amplified Training, the CEO of Conjugate, and today we're going to be talking about carb cycling for the strength athlete, one of my favorite fat loss solutions. Before we dive into today's topic, make sure to find me over on Instagram as Amplified Training. I love your questions. The best ones are ones I will try to turn into videos. I also offer one-to-one coaching. Reach out if that's something you'd be interested in. The odds are very good. I'd love to work with you. With that being said, let's get into it. So, what exactly is carb cycling? Well, in the simplest of terms, it's just a dietary approach where a couple days a week, you're going to eat higher carbs. Now, these higher carb days are strategic. In general, I recommend these higher carb days be the days before your most grueling workouts, or if you're someone who tends to overeat on the weekend, what I think you should do is really lock in during the week and then allow for those slightly higher carb and calorie days on the weekends, but don't use them as an excuse to get sloppy. Let's continue on. So something to keep in mind is carb cycling is not inherently superior to a standard calorie deficit, but what I find is it helps with the performance minded. For a lot of strength athletes out there, what'll happen is when they're on a cut, they'll give up prematurely because they see a significant decrease in their strength or rep count due to their carbohydrates being depleted, glycogen levels are down, they just don't feel as strong. By having those higher carb and higher calorie days, the days before your most grueling workouts, plus extra salt and extra water, you get a little bloat. That'll help improve performance markers, and it keeps you more mentally in the game because you feel a little less run down going into your hardest workouts. For a more lifestyle-oriented individual, this is a great opportunity to use these higher calorie days on weekends if you know you're going to be going out. Again, you don't use the weekends as an excuse to blow your diet. In general, if you want to lose fat, you need to nail your weekends because this is where most of us go wrong. And carb cycling is a really good way of meeting you with where you're at versus where you want to be, right? Rather than just thinking, okay, I'm going to be rigid all 7 days a week. Allow for a little flexibility so you can maximize both the enjoyment of life, but also really hit your fat loss phase. And we're going to do that with a fairly aggressive approach that I'll outline on the next slide. Let's talk about how to set up your macros for your carb cycling. The first thing you're going to do is set your calories. The calories are going to be at 9.5 times body weight. I told you this was a very aggressive approach. For the strength athlete, I think cuts should be fast, quick, and sharp. That way you can spend more time eating at or above maintenance to maximize your long-term strength potential. Protein, you're going to set to 0.8 to 1 times body weight. In general, if you have a higher level of body fat, you should set the protein a little bit lower. Carbs are going to be body weight minus 50 or as much as body weight if you are a leaner individual. And then fats will make up the remaining calories that you have available for the day. And then twice a week, you're going to take in an additional 50 to 75 grams of carbs to your meal plan. And these carbs should be coming from quality sources or, the occasional treat, but don't go wild. 50 grams of carbs is not as much as you think it is. It's only about 200 calories. I highly recommend stuff like fruit in this case. And again, for those high carb days, have them take place the day before your most strenuous workouts. So for a 200-pound guy, here's what that might look like. 1,900 calories, 180 grams of protein, 150 grams of carbs, and then roughly 65 grams of fat. Now, 2 quick tips here. Your refeed days, don't eat like crap. You want to be taking in high quality foods. In a fat loss phase, it's so important that you really focus on your relationship with food because calorie deficits strain your relationship with food at day's end. But by focusing in on higher quality food, you'll be able to actually eat more food in terms of volume. Additionally, on these refeed days, I recommend taking in a little extra water and a little extra salt. That way you're going to have a great day the following day in the gym. Unless you're going for some max effort deads, in which case don't bloat yourself too much. It'll interfere with your positioning. And then second, eat like an adult. And you know exactly what I mean here. Yes, this is an extremely aggressive approach. You're eating under 10 calories per pound of body weight. However, I think that's a great thing long-term for the strength athlete because then you're going to spend more time in your calendar year eating at or above maintenance, and that's going to maximize your long-term strength potential. And if you are more physique-oriented as well, you want to spend as much time as you can eating above maintenance because that's going to help you actually grow the muscle mass. A fast, hard cut is the way to go. And if you're someone who's considering running a big bulk, I would challenge you to run this carb cycling approach for a couple weeks first. And the reason why is that's going to help you determine, am I emotionally and mentally ready to take on something like a big 20, 30 pound bulk? Because if you can't run an aggressive cut for a few weeks, you should strongly reconsider whether it's time for you to run that big dreamer bulk, especially if it's going to be a dirty one.